Hello once again, my name is Quentin C. Lightborn, and I'm your host for the Voice of the Bahamian Youth. This week's episode we're going to talk about the educational system in the Bahamas, and how we as Bahamian youth are directly affected by this system. Right now we're going to take a look at a few video clips from top Bahamian youth, abroad and back home, about the education system in the Bahamas, and what needs to be done to resolve this ever-changing problem. Thank you very much, and enjoy the dynamic video series.
Hi, my name is Keenan Johnson, and as it pertains to the educational system in the country, I feel as though there are a few things the government can do to make our system just a bit more effective. Firstly, implementing technical programs in the high schools. We must come to the realization that not every student that goes through our system is academically inclined. Not every student can be a doctor or a lawyer. However, we do have students that are very gifted with their hands. So why not encourage them to be mechanics or masons, starting from high school, so that they will be interested in furthering their education, either to BTVI or some other institution that will offer that program. We must encourage them to get the relevant training so that they can be professionals in the area that they choose. Secondly, we need to stop pushing our students through school, just taking them through the system. Our emphasis must be on educating them and not just throwing them through the system. Just because they're 16 or 17 does not mean that they should graduate if they can't read or write. We must understand these factors and encourage our students to learn as opposed to just wasting time.
As it pertains to education, I think that we must be very thankful. We are one of the few countries in the world that offers both primary and secondary education to all of our students, regardless of gender. And for that we must be grateful. Yet we know the system needs to improve. On many family islands, students still do not receive the same attention and care as they would if they went to school in New Providence or Grand Bahama. Certainly we also need to encourage our students to take part in the arts more often, to develop their talents outside of academia. And we also need to begin to prepare our people for globalization and those impacts. Are we ready to compete with those in India or Thailand or China? And so we must begin to think about this and see how we can shape that into an educational system. Finally, we must begin to put special emphasis on the College of the Bahamas and moving it forward. It is my hope that someday we can also say that we offer tertiary education free for all.
Education. When we talk about education in the Bahamas, we often talk about our national average being at a D, the failing grades coming out of our high schools, and the amount of leaving certificates coming out of public schools every year. But what we don't discuss are things that I think are at the root of the problem. Firstly, early childhood education and elementary school education. Many Bahamians don't even know that most of our 5th graders can't even read at a 3rd grade level. These are things that need to be discussed and be corrected. We need to instill in our kids at an early age the value of an English, math, and science education. Secondly, we don't value our teachers because we don't compensate them fairly. Teachers are forced to teach in overcrowded classrooms and in subpar conditions. And if we truly value the education of our students, we'll make sure that our teachers are compensated fairly. Thirdly, I think our teachers need a little more room to be innovative and creative in the classroom. We need to give them the freedom to include new books and articles that they find interesting and to use things from the internet and more technology items such as videos. I think this will bring our education system into the 21st century and provide more opportunities for our students. Our education system in the Bahamas isn't the best, but if our politicians make it priority number 1 by giving it more funding, we can provide something really great for our students.
The education system in the Bahamas has been in decline for quite some time now. Governments have come and gone, promising results, but little or nothing has been done. One of the improvements that I suggest is performance incentives for teachers. If they are motivated, students are also motivated. Parents should also sit down and take the time, 30 minutes at least, to read with their child. It boosts the child's confidence and exposes them to a world beyond their own. Magnet schools should also be introduced. It introduces selected children to advanced material. They should also reduce class sizes. There's no way that a teacher can touch 40 children in 1 hour. And last but certainly not least, a mentor scheme between companies and schools to expose children to tertiary level educated professionals other than their teachers, to show that education is actually a means to an end.
Hi, my name is Carlos Palacios. While many people think of education in the traditional sense of, high school and tertiary education, whether abroad or at CLB, I think it's important to realize that practical experience is just as important in developing your career and also your educational skills and abilities. Working during the summers or getting experience before you go off to school is very helpful, and there are many companies in the Bahamas who currently actually have training programs and are more than happy to hire students to gain experience within the different fields that they'll possibly come back to work in later when they're done their studies. So I think a department needs to be put in place, possibly an extension of the Ministry of Education or the Ministry of Labor, that can have a database. It can be structured similar to Craigslist, for example, that can list careers and different opportunities. Companies can be contacted, maybe a workforce of 2 or 3 persons that has, for example, a call line, and then persons can contact this agency to get a good understanding of what is available to them in their interest, their fields of interest in the Bahamas. This will be very helpful in developing the careers of students as well as graduates, and help our educational process so that Bahamians can make the most of all that they have to offer in the Bahamas. Thank you very much.
Ways in which we can improve the educational system within the Bahamas. I feel as though improvements need to be made to the large class sizes found within our schools. Reducing these class sizes can increase the quality of education and the level of individual attention that is afforded to those individuals that are academically challenged and struggling. In order for us to do this, we must make the field of education as a career option an attractive one through the revamping and improvement of the teacher cadet program. This can help us to recruit those individuals that are graduating from high school and those that are still exploring career options to become educators. We also need to increase the benefits and rewards of becoming an educator within our country. We also need to empower the already hired and qualified educators within our country through the implementation of continuing educational courses. Empowering our educators can help them to empower those within their classrooms. Secondly, I feel as though we need to revert all of the negative attention that is placed on the national passing average of the BGCSEs and focus on helping those individuals that are struggling to graduate from high school with a high school diploma rather than with a leaving certificate. Empowering these individuals and preparing and equipping them with a high school diploma can help them to pursue other options upon leaving high school, whether it may be other educational options or opportunities that may be afforded to them, as well as career opportunities. Doing this can help them to be effective and productive citizens of our Bahamian.